What's up guys, this is 1UX1. Today we're talking about user stories. What are user stories and how do we use them? So in a user research project, we need to know what are the problems we're trying to solve, and we do that through defining them with specific sentences that we form, which are called user stories. So user stories are actually statements that we make, and how do we find them? We look at the discovery report or any reports that's usually written at the beginning of a project. What happens is when we are building a new product, a website, app or software, we actually do that based on some initial findings, i.e. the organization that you work for or the company that you work for, they've actually spent some time to work out, well, this might be a problem, might not be a problem. So what they do is they do something called a discovery. And what they're doing is seeing, is this really a need? And now they don't know, they haven't validated that need yet, but they want to look at it, i.e. is it worth spending millions of pounds or dollars on this project or not? So to do that, they have an initial discovery where they will hire sometimes an external company, or it can be done internally, to look at whether these pain points, this friction in the service, is it really worth fixing or not, and putting in our time, energy, and all those wages, those high wages for developers, engineers, product owners, product managers, delivery managers, UX designers, UX researchers, service designers, business analysts, and etc. So all these people are going to get paid a lot of money. Is it really worth it to improve this product? So during that discovery phase, they're going to look at the feasibility, how long would it take, is it really worth doing? And then they make a decision, usually the senior management, so the C-suite, delivery managers, etc. And they'll say, okay, is it worth it? Should we do it? And they do cost benefit analysis. So they look at, it's going to cost 2 million. Is it really worth fixing this problem? Do we really need to do it? And then once they make a decision, and let's say they say, right, we need to fix this problem, they're going to need from you as a UX researcher, they're going to need the user stories. They're going to need statements from you to define those problems. So for example, let's say it's for an accounting software. And the reason I'm giving an example of accounting software is sometimes we tend to think of UX research only for websites or apps, but we forget it could be UX research on car navigation. It could be a software. And in this case, let me give an example of accounting software. So let's say it's for an accounting software. What you want to look at is this accounting software, what are the user needs? Now let's look at a story, a user story for that example. So a user may need to export the file. So let's say they're doing some accounts for a client in the software, and now they want to export it. So how are they going to export it? They want to export it easily and quickly. So a user need may be, as a user, I need to export my files because I need my files in various formats so that I can easily edit and share those files with my colleagues and clients. So that would be a user story, and it's defining it clearly in terms of that user need. Once you've defined those user needs, they don't have to be correct. There could be assumptions, which you're going to validate anyway in user testing. So don't stress too much about whether they're perfect, because in the beginning of a UX research process, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for those assumptions and seeing, well, is that really a problem? Is that not a problem? And we're going to find out usually during the first round of UX research. So in the first round, you'll discover, oh, okay, this really is a problem. People are not happy with this. There's some friction in this. They actually can't export the file. Okay, what can we do about that? How can we make it quick? How can we offer them different formats to export in? For example, you might need to export the file in Excel, PDF, Word, or text, or CVS, or any other format. So we'll do user research on that, and then we'll know that we're actually solving problems. And that statement is so crucial. And that statement is so crucial to helping us define our route, because the team depends on the UX researcher to tell them and give them the direction. So UX researchers are crucial because they are the first point of call and the first person in the UX research process, but also the design team process. Without the UX researcher, i.e. you, nothing can move. Without the findings, without the discovery report, the UX research report, you can't run a project. You can't have sprints. You can't have a Jira board, which is where you put the tickets for your jobs. You can't have a project without UX research. So UX research is so crucial to any project. Without that, really nothing moves. So they depend on your data. They depend on your feedback. What you find out is what they need. So really everyone waits on you. And I can tell you many times this has happened where I've started a project and the whole team is waiting for the UX research report. Now that report can take between 2 to 3, 4, even 5 or 8 weeks, depending on how many participants you're going to hire. So you recruit them, you interview them, you do the UX research, i.e. the interviews or focus groups or surveys. Then you have to analyze the data, synthesize, analyze, thematic analysis. Then you're going to write a report, and usually in PowerPoint or Keynote, after analyzing the data. All that takes a long time, many, many weeks. Meanwhile, there could be some of your colleagues in an IT team, design team, really twiddling their fingers, sitting around with nothing to do. Why? Because until they get the report, they can't action anything. They can't start to, for example, UX designer can't build the first iteration, minimum viable product. They can't do any work. A business analyst can't analyze the data if they don't have any. So really your key is user stories, then the process of recruiting, interviewing, writing a report, sharing that report. And that's how the process works. And that's why it's so important to understand what user stories are and how they define the whole project. And then once you've got your first report out, you can now say, right, these user stories need to be changed, iterated, deleted, added, new stories can get added, and you start to continue that process until you realize that you are starting to improve that product. As you do more and more rounds of user research, you realize you're improving the product further and further and further, which is exactly what you want. So what you want to achieve is an improvement over time on that mock-up, that wireframe, that prototype. And that prototype, as it improves, the user experience improves until you go through the phase of going like soft live. Soft live is when you're testing it with a few users, and then finally you can go live with the product. So the user stories, they are smaller parts of what we call themes and epics. So a theme is like the bigger picture, i.e. for example, on a website, a theme could be improving the process of selecting multiple products in a checkout. So let's say you want to select 6 shirts and 3 colors. So that would be the theme. An epic would be, how can we now look at each of those features, so the sizes and the colors, and a user story would be, what is the need in that user journey? So for example, the user need may be, I need to select multiple sizes and multiple colors when I'm selecting my shirts, i.e. how can I do that easily, quickly, and how can you make it more useful for me so I can save time and buy exactly what I want. So that's how user stories link in with themes and epics. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like and follow, and I'll see you on the next one. This is 1UX1. Don't forget to drop your comments below and click that notification bell. Thank you.